So now we're going to have a look at the Wavetable Editor. Now in order to use the Wavetable Editor, we have to select a wavetable on one of our oscillators, and then we click on the Edit button here. And it brings up the Wavetable Editor menu, which is a new feature in June 3. Now, this allows us to create our own wavetables, and it kind of brings June 3 into line with synths like Vital and Serum. Now we have some options to import WAV files, and that's what we're going to look at in this first video on the Wavetable Editor. Now what I'm going to do to start with is just set up a clean wavetable, which means we've got nothing loaded in here. And now we're going to import a single cycle waveform. Now these are waveforms that have been cropped to be 2048 samples. Let me just choose one here. And these will now act like a kind of static waveform essentially, because it's just a single cycle of a waveform. So if we close this down, you'll see that our position dial does not do anything because it's only a single cycle of a waveform. But what we can do is actually make another waveform here, or as many as we want. And what we could do is copy and then paste like so. And then we could actually go in and just change this up. Don't worry, we're going to talk about the ways we can draw in waveforms a bit later, but you can see that we could make some variations here, and that would then give us slightly different tones. But that's how we can import single cycle waveforms. So if you had, say, a single cycle that you'd sampled from a Moog or something, you could import that in, and essentially June 3's oscillators would be replaced by a Moog oscillator. So that's quite a cool feature. Let's just make this a clean wavetable again. Now the next option we have is import WAV fit to wavetable. Now essentially what we're going to do here is squeeze a WAV file into a wavetable essentially. So let's choose this toothbrush sound here. This is a kind of, well, it's the sound of someone brushing their teeth essentially. And let's just close this. So that whole sound now, let's just actually find that sound on the Finder. Let's have a listen to it. That's not me brushing my teeth, in case you're wondering. But that whole waveform now has been compressed to fit into this wavetable. And again, of course, we can go through and create variations of this if we wanted to as well. Okay, so let's just clean this out again. And now let's go to the last option, which is import WAV, adjust wavetable. Now this allows us to adjust the number of waveforms within the wavetable to fit the length of the sample. So let's choose something here. In fact, let's choose the same sound. And you'll hear now, if we close this down, you'll see there's many more waveforms being created. So now we have the whole sample there. And let's actually go in and create an envelope here. We'll talk about envelopes a little bit later. Let's slow the rate down. And let's go into our mod matrix and let's choose source, message U1, and destination is going to be oscillator 1, wavetable position. Let's bring the amount up, bring the position down. So that way we can now actually move through that whole wavetable, which is made up of that whole waveform, using the envelope to actually modulate the position dial. So it's like very slowly moving position through. Now something else we can do here is come up to the menu and we can actually export a wavetable. So we can do that by exporting it to a June 3 format. Let's choose the name of toothbrush. So that's now been saved successfully, and that now means that if we come back to a wavetable menu here, we've got that accessible from within that wavetable menu. What you can also do is export this actually as a WAV file. So if you wanted to add this into Serum or Vital or another wavetable synth, you could do that as well. Now something else we can do here is morph the wavetable. Now this is going to give us a seamless transition between the first and the last waveform. Much smoother, but maybe a little bit less interesting than it was before. We can also normalize the waveform if we want to make it a bit louder. We know that we can create a clean wavetable, we can copy a waveform, paste it elsewhere. We can invert a waveform. We can also reverse a waveform, like so. So we can do that on the individual waveforms here. We can remove the DC offset of a waveform, which makes sure that the energy above and below the line is balanced and can help remove clicks. Now we can also normalize the current waveform. So we already normalized the wavetable. This isn't going to do anything, but what we could do is actually go into each individual waveform and normalize it if we wanted to as well. We can create a clean waveform like so. So now you see we've got a gap here. We could draw something in if we wanted to. We can add a waveform, which we'll add on onto the end. We can insert a waveform like so at a certain position. See, that's been added in there. And we can also remove a waveform. So there's loads of different options within this menu that relate to importing wave files, exporting, and also manipulating the individual waveforms. Now that's going to be video 1 on the Wavetable Editor. So to recap on this video, we went through the options for importing wave files, including single cycle, fit to wavetable, and adjust wavetable. We exported wavetables so we could then import them from within the wavetable menu later within Gene 3. We also talked about the fact you can export WAVs. And then we went through some of our other menu items here and what they do in relation to the wavetable editing functionality. Okay, so now we've covered more of the importing side of things. In the next video, we're going to have a look at actually drawing in our own wavetables. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.